Alright. So here we are. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. I know. I said we'd do Donkey Kong. But guess what? It's not happening again. Listen, I got into the beta. I signed up for it because I was like, yeah, sure, why the hell not? I got in, so it only made sense that we, stream this tonight. And even if I'm like, oh, in like an hour I'm bored. Well, guess what? I'll just go play some Marvel Rivals. Clear the race, gets the... Here's the crossword. The more rings you collect, the faster your top speed. Pass through the center of the boost gate to gain greater speed boosts. Dodge attacks by using items with your L1. Sure. Yeah, I got it. I somehow managed to get into the closed beta. I'm assuming it's open now. That's kind of what the email made it sound like. And there was a part of me that was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll just record footage and do this next week. We'll just use pre-planned footage. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do this. We'll start off, generic Sonic, generic character. I'll figure it out.
Hello, everyone.
This very much feels like a Mario Kart lobby where you're given the choice between the 3 tracks and you just kind of go in. Of course, we do have a show tonight, of course. We got some news stuff. We've got some food stuffs. I have a few TV things. I technically have a few more. Ooh. Maybe it's intentionally half bots, half actual people. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I have no idea how to play, so we'll see. I mean, this is a beta. But we'll do one match, and then we'll actually get into the news stuffs. And yes, we are playing on PS5, if that wasn't obvious. And if, things don't work and whatnot, we'll just boot up, Marvel Rivals. I mean, 2 new characters got added today. I probably won't play as either of them, but it's nice. That's not bad. Can I be honest? This game, so far, it's reminded me a lot of Mario Kart 8. And I see the little guys on the side and how, choppy they are. Oh, shit. And I'll be honest, I don't mind at all. Because Mario Kart 8 does that a lot. So I haven't played a non-Mario Kart racing game in a long time. Literally, when did Crash Team Racing reboot come out? I was trying. I think this is a cool gimmick. I'm definitely playing this how I would play Mario Kart. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out the controls on this one. Because the car is not drifting like how I want it to. We've been on laps? What? Yeah, I'm trying to drift like Mario Kart, and that's just not working. I'm assuming that was a... Yeah, okay, we were right out there. I don't know, drifting is weird on this. It doesn't work how I want it to, like in Mario Kart. It's just one of those things that's gonna take some time to get used to. I don't know, when it was working well, but when it wasn't, I was having some issues. Tickets. We're now in E.
Rank up. That was easy.
Ba 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 ba. E. Sure. I'm assuming I probably should have just continued. Hold your drift. Free boost levels gadgets can be used to increase the floor. Air tricks to charge up 3 boost levels. Drift in the opposite direction. Okay. Hey, it's the king of all cosmos. Gadget plate. Gadgets.
Great things from you.
I think that's useful. And what characters can we be? Oh wow, there's actually a good chunk of them. I don't know why you're here. Actually, can I be honest? I wouldn't mind seeing these guys in a Sonic movie. Not at all. Oh, actually, what's our parameters? Do all these guys have low acceleration? Holy crap. Actually, you're not bad. You're not bad.
Alright, let's take off!
I'm literally just gonna play this like I do Mario Kart. Now, we want something a little bit more balanced than that. Yeah, fork it. Alright, let's play it like I would play Mario Kart.
Alright, let's take off!
Alright, so for our stories tonight, we got a story on Nintendo discontinuing gold points and some other things for their online services. They announced Pokémon Day Presents is coming up, so of course I want to talk about that. give some small predictions. And I have some Marvel comic stuff, because they're doing something fucky with Gwen Stacy, and I don't like it. But we'll talk about it. And I want to talk about the Minecraft Snapshot real quick. Why? I don't know. I just kind of felt like it. Why not? So those are our stories. So let's start off. So Nintendo, a few years ago, they used to have My Nintendo Rewards or Nintendo Rewards. I want to say it was called My Nintendo. That sounds right. And it was a reward system for people, you know, who bought Nintendo games on specifically it was like during the Wii era. And Wii DS and God, was it? I think it was still around during the 3DS era, just not as good. Like it slowly got worse over time. And the whole thing was it was Nintendo Rewards, and you would get some cool stuff from them. I actually got both Game & Watch games. I used to have like a Mario Bros statue. I used to have a few things from My Nintendo Rewards. It was actually really nice because it was neat. I'm not going to act like it was anything special. I mean, I know in Japan they got some really cool rewards. But it was neat. It was a nice way to give back get back as a Nintendo fan. And I liked it for a long time. But then, around the Switch era, maybe a little earlier than that, they basically discontinued My Nintendo Rewards and instead switched over to a new system that involves these gold and platinum points. Now, gold points were just, hey, you know, you get a gold point, that's basically a penny. At 1 gold point is 1 penny, so if you got like 200 gold points, that's basically $2. That's how, for example, when Among Us came to Switch, I bought Among Us just using gold points. And that was cool. And yeah, I think I have over like $10 in gold points nowadays. I've collected a fair few. I don't spend them as much as I should, but every once in a while, usually to get rid of like tax. And then platinum points, for the longest time, they gave you like real small, stupid rewards. But eventually Nintendo had the idea of like, hey, what if we use platinum points to give icons? That you can get like icons on your Switch using platinum points. And that was a good idea. I actually really do like that one. Because you've gotten some good icons over the years. But recently, it just hasn't really mattered. And so Nintendo announced earlier in the week I think it was technically Monday night, but I first saw the announcement on Tuesday that, hey, gold points are being discontinued. That Nintendo feels like, you know, maybe they've done everything with gold points they could possibly do, so now they're discontinuing them, and presumably they're going to have something else on Switch 2. We just don't know what. That's the thing. They're probably going to do some sort of new system, because, you know, I mean, they could totally cancel their rewards program altogether, but that feels kind of, I don't want to say scummy, but I feel like that's missed potential. People like the gold system. But yeah, it looks like Nintendo's canceling their point system, and instead, you know, what are they going to replace it with? Who knows? I don't know. I hope we get something good out of it. But it's Nintendo. If they replace it with nothing, I sadly wouldn't be at all surprised. So that's kind of where we're sitting. We just know they're canceling them. As of March 25th, you will no longer be able to earn gold points. And basically, gold points expire in a year. They expire every year. So in a year's time, let's just continue. In a year's time, all gold points will be gone. So after March 25th, what does that entirely mean? I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Like I said, I've got basically $10 in gold points. I'm sure I'll use them for something. But at the moment, I'm not really too worried. It sucks to lose a reward system, but I'll be honest, I was never excited for the reward system. I definitely liked the one we had before. My Nintendo was so much better than the current system. Again, I think it was called My Nintendo. I at least liked it more. I had more fun with it. Yeah, so the other thing, along with that news that, hey, My Nintendo is getting, or the gold points are getting discontinued, they also announced that Nintendo game vouchers will not work on Switch 2. If you don't remember what those are, the My Nintendo game vouchers, where you paid $100, I think? Yeah, you paid $100 and you got 2 game vouchers. And you could spend them on new and upcoming Nintendo games. I want to say basically every Nintendo game was a game voucher. The only exception that might have been a thing was Tears of the Kingdom might not have been a game voucher thing.
Yes.
But I know everything else was. And I don't think it's a terrible system. If you're someone who buys a lot of Nintendo games, having those gold vouchers and slowly they add up, where, you know, oh, you save basically $10 per game. $10 could actually be a lot. That adds up over time. The big reason I never used them was because I don't buy digital games. With one or two exceptions. I'm not really a digital game guy. So the Nintendo game voucher never really appealed to me. I definitely think it's a good idea. At least, you know, just to save people some money. And I also kind of feel like it's one of the things in the modern gaming industry is that even though all games are basically purchasable digital now, I can only think of a single game that was physical only. And that was the whole gimmick, is that they were doing this one game physical only. Even though that's a thing, the games still cost the same. Games still charge the same whether you're paying for discs or you're paying for physical copies. Whether you're paying for physical or digital, Nintendo charges the same, as do all game companies. And that kind of sucks, you know? It would be nice as like, oh, because, you know, you used to get like, when you bought a game, you got a game, you got a manual, you got all sorts of cool things with your game. But now you just get a disc or a little cartridge, and it'd be nice to save some money. And I really do feel like this game voucher thing was kind of Nintendo's way to get around that system. Of, you know, because you're not buying a physical game, we're gonna save you some money. But because, you know, they're still charging you $100, that adds up over time. It really does. So yeah, I never really used the game vouchers. And them not working on Switch 2, I guess that makes sense. Because originally Nintendo said they were only going to be like a limited time thing. That they were only going to use game vouchers for like... I want to say they said they were only going to use it for like a year. And then they ended up lasting a lot longer than that. Because people, you know, I guess people bought them. I guess they worked out fine. But I'm not too brokenhearted by this. As it's a system I never used. Why should I be, you know, so excited to, you know, finally use it if I never did in the first place? You know something I keep doing? I keep trying to trick off ramps. I'm literally playing this just like Mario Kart. I keep trying to trick off ramps and do all that stuff. That race I did a lot worse. Yeah, I really hope that this isn't them just getting rid of something. That if you're gonna do something new, at least replace. If you're gonna get rid of something, at least replace it with something. I know there are better systems than the Nintendo Switch Gold points that they can replace it with. Admittedly, it kind of feels a lot like airline miles the way it currently is. But I think they can do something new and cool. It's just a question of will they. Alright, so the next thing is Pokémon Day. Pokémon Day was officially confirmed to be happening. We all kind of knew it was going to be happening, but now it has been confirmed that it is happening February 27th, which is a Thursday? That sounds right. February 27th, a Thursday, at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is so fucking early. Why are the... I get it. They do the showcases early, because then they're late at night in Japan. And, you know, people who wake up after, 6 a.m. Pacific Time can just wake up and watch the show. They don't really have to be worried about watching it live. I get that. But, man, it sucks. Now, does this mean that I can watch it? Actually, yes. I kind of like the Nintendo Switch Direct. I do think I will be able to watch this. At least that's the hope anyways. Is that I'll be able to sit down and watch it, and then I'll just go to work afterwards. Because I do work that day, but I go to work after it. So so at the moment, I do 100% think we will be able to do this. We'll of course have to kind of wait and see, but at the moment, I do kind of have it scheduled to be able to do it. Oh, let's do a mystery. Ah, it's the balloon one again. So do I have any predictions for this thing? Kind of. So circulating around recently, there have been 2 rumors as to what this showcase is going to be. The first rumor is that it's going to have, of course we all know it's going to have Legends EA, it's going to have that stupid game, the Cafe remix, it's going to have, Unite's the other one I'm thinking of. So we all know it's going to have those games. Like, that's the obvious one. Pokemon loves to fill their showcases with new information about all the mobile games nobody actually cares about. Okay, I know that's kind of being harsh, but it's kind of true. I've just never really cared about the mobile games. Besides for a few people who I follow on Twitter that play Unite, I don't know anybody who cares about Cafe Remix. I don't know anybody who cares about any of the other ones. So all those mobile games, I fully expect them to be there, but I'm not too interested in them if I'm being honest. I would love to see a new Pokemon spin-off game. A mystery dungeon. Okay, I don't really care for a mystery dungeon. What I really want is Pokemon Pinball. There's this guy named G Medley. Big, he's a streamer, but he does Pokemon Pinball, and he's played like so much Pokemon Pinball, and he did a video. It's like an hour long, talking about, hey, how do you get the Johto starters in Aerodactyl in Pokemon Pinball, and his quest to get them, and like talking about modding the game and stuff like that, and it all sounds really interesting. And how people are working to like decompile the code. But it really does take a while to do stuff like that. And I really hope that project is successful. That video, which is a great video that you should go watch, I hope it's successful and people are able to go in, modify the code, and I would love to see some Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire mods. Because I love Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. You know how people have like their 2-week Minecraft thing where they play a lot of Minecraft for 2 weeks? That for a lot of people is going on right now, I guess. I usually only play around the updates. Well, I have a Pokemon Pinball phase. Every year around my birthday, I sit down and I play a bunch of Pokemon Pinball. To be fair, I've never completed the decks. I think I've got like 100 and something. It's less than 150. But I've gotten a few over the years. And I just like Pokemon Pinball, and I'd love to see it get some mods, add some new boards, add some new characters. And I would love to help out with that. That's one of those things that I would love to help people with. But I just don't know how. I don't know how code works. I couldn't even begin to tell you how to work on that. But go watch that video. He talks a lot about it. It's really good. But I would love to see a new Pokemon Pinball. I would happily pay money for a new Pokemon Pinball. I feel like that's the important part, is that I feel like if Game Freak actually did sit down and make a new Pokemon Pinball, they'd screw it up because they'd make it a freemium game. And freemium would take all the fun out of Pokemon Pinball. But I feel like that would be the best. But I feel like that's what they do. Because Game Freak only make... Outside of those Mystery Dungeons games, Game Freak really only does... How am I supposed to... Game Freak only does freemium games. Think about it. Cafe Remix, the other one... All freemium games. With the exception of Pokemon Mystery Dungeons. But I would love to see a new mainline Pokemon Pinball that has boards for all the regions, that has over 100 Pokemon, that has all 1,000 Pokemon in it. I think that would be a lot of fun. It'd be very interesting. It's just a question of would they do it, and I don't think they will. But I guess I could see a new Mystery Dungeon. That sadly doesn't surprise me. It's not that I hate Mystery Dungeons. I know a lot of people want a remake of Explorers of Sky. And don't get me wrong, I think I've played Explorers of Sky, and that game blew me away as a kid. But that was a long time ago. So I don't think it's gonna happen. But on to the 4chan rumors. Every time around this time of year, you know, we always get the 4chan rumors. There's all the rumors about ZA. I think anything's possible. When it comes to ZA, literally anything can go. Because it's ZA. It's the next big new mainline Pokemon game. But you know, I'd love to see something cool. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that one. I think we are going to get some, but not nearly as much as people want. To be fair, I actually didn't write down any ZA rumors, so I wouldn't even know where to begin with that one. What I did write down was the two big things I've seen. The first one is that there's a rumor of a Pokemon collection. So it'd be a collection of Gens 1 through 3. So it'd have red and blue, gold and silver / maybe crystal, and then ruby, sapphire / emerald. It's complicated. And then fire red and leaf green. I like that idea. I think the idea of a Pokemon collection is a good one. This would not be part of Nintendo Switch Online, but instead would be its own game. They would be called Pokemon Reminiscence and Pokemon Memory. So if you buy Reminiscence, you get red, gold, and fire red. Whereas if you buy Memory, you get blue, silver, and sapphire. And then they maybe do a third collection, or they'd sell a different collection with just emerald. Oh, and then of course fire red and leaf green, obviously. And then maybe they do a different collection that has different things. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yay! Aww.
Especially because I could see the Pokemon Company charging a full $60 for it. For, you know, you know how Nintendo did that Super Mario Bros. Collection? That was just, you know, 3 classic Mario games. That was $60 and then they stopped selling it. I could see Pokemon doing the same thing, you know, 4 classic games, $60. And then, you know, they sell Emerald and Crystal separately. Or, like, as DLC. I could see that. And honestly, if they're gonna do it, and they make it home compatible, I really like that idea. I would love to play Ruby again, because it's been a long time. Of course, I would love to play Emerald maybe more, because Emerald's just, you know, the better game. But, you know, I've got a soft spot for Ruby, and it's been a long time since I played. It really, I can't, because the last time I replayed a Gen 3 game was the remix. Other than that, I have not touched the Gen 3 games in a long time, because, you know, they're the Gen 3 games. And I think the idea of this just being a collection, would I like to see this collection on Nintendo Switch Online? Of course I would. I think that would be a much better option of just having everything on Nintendo Switch Online, which is easier, more accessible, but it also makes them less money. And Pokemon is a franchise that prints money, especially when it comes to nostalgia. Oh boy, does the Pokemon Company love nostalgia. So, anything is possible, I guess. But I'm more hesitant. Do I think this rumor is real? No, not at all. It'd be cool if it was, because I definitely do think the Pokemon Company needs to re-release these games. And however, I feel like last year, with them not having any Pokemon games coming out, last year would have been the perfect time to do this. And they didn't. So that just kind of feels like a missed opportunity, you could say. Of course, you know, things never actually work out. The rumor is, though, that these collections come out, like, basically they're going to announce it at the show, and then they're going to release in March. Like, I want to say the rumor is, like, March 10th, which is, like, 10 days later. That's right there. So, do I believe this? Not at all. The other part of this rumor, of course, is the other rumor that is completely unrelated, because there are 2 4chan rumors, both of which are probably wrong in the grand scheme of things. But the other 4chan rumor is Black and White remix. I know, and already I know some people say, well, why not give us Black and White 3? And I do definitely think Black and White 3 is probably the better idea. But that's not what this is going to be. This is going to be another game made by Studio Ilka. It's going to have the chibi character designs and everything. That's what this is going to be. Mark my words, if black and white remakes happen, which I don't think they're going to happen. I do not think black and white remakes are going to happen. But if they do, they're going to be Studio Ilka style chibi characters and whatnot. Would it be nice if the Pokemon Company, you know, listened and changed some things? Of course it would be, but they're the Pokemon Company. They don't do that. We should just be grateful we're getting another, you know, they took a year off to presumably make Legend ZA a better game. But there was a bunch of stuff in these black and white remake rumors. The only thing that I really remember was that supposedly they're gonna have an not DLC, but like a story expansion. You know how Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire had the Delta episode, which was all about Rayquaza. Supposedly these games are gonna have the Gray episode in the Pink episode. The Gray episode obviously being about Kyurem, and the Pink episode, who would the Pink episode be about? Because the not Genesect. Genesect's purple. Meloetta's green. Keldeo is orange? I've got an orange main at least. So it could be about any one of these characters. I'm sure Pink, oh, is that Mewtwo? Could be Mewtwo. Could be, I think Gen 5 introduced the, genies, right? So it could be, the Pink episode could be the new genie, Enamorous. You know, the one that people hate. That's possible. I wouldn't rule that out. But anything's possible. Do I actually think we're going to get black and white remakes? No. Do I want black and white remakes? Also, no. I know people like black and white. I know people like Pokemon remakes. Even though people at the time did not like black and white. Pokemon is a series built on nostalgia. A lot of people's favorite Pokemon game is the one they played first. And for a lot of people, that's black and white. Because black and white was basically a soft reboot of the franchise. But it's not my favorite is usually just the most recent one. I know that's kind of a controversial take, but I literally do think, usually the most recent Pokemon game is the most polished, the most refined. Okay, not most refined, definitely not that. I like the mechanics in newer Pokemon games. Whereas the old ones can be a real grind fest. And I know some people equate grinding to difficulty, and that's just not true. A game being grindy does not make it more fun. It does not make it more difficult. Pokemon are RPGs intended for babies. And guess what? I have no problem acknowledging that. I know some people live in Egypt and are, constantly in denial. I ain't one of them. I'm fully willing to admit that Pokemon games are RPGs intended for babies, and I have no issue with that. That sounds pretty good to me. I happen to like those baby RPGs. But not everyone feels that way. So there's a part of me that hopes we don't get Gen 10 remakes. But anything is possible, so we'll just kind of have to wait and see, I guess. What else? Anything else you can expect? I think it's probably going to be 30 minutes. 20 of those minutes are just going to be the mobile games and the spin-off games that nobody cares about. Pokemon Go, Pokemon Sleep. They'll probably announce some sort of new Pokemon home, not home, but like some sort of new Pokemon like life initiative thing. Be that Pokemon Eat Dinner or something like that. I could totally, it's been a while since we got Pokemon Sleep and Pokemon Go. I could totally see them kind of leaning into that and doing whatever the new thing is. So I'm not against that, but I don't really care for it. But we'll see. I don't know. I loved Pokemon Go. For that summer of Pokemon Go was fantastic. And Pokemon Sleep I've never checked out. We're probably Pokemon Pocket Card Edition thing. Which, do I have a pack? I probably have a pack to open here in the next like half hour. Yeah, it's whatever. I don't know. We'll stream Pokemon Day the day it happens. I will be there. I will hopefully have fun. I want to know what ZA is. And I really hope it's coming out before October. I know Pokemon games are usually Christmas games. And if it is a Christmas game, I'll have no problem with that. But there's just something on the wall that kind of feels like it might be earlier than that. I could see this being a summer game. May at the earliest. But then again, Switch 2. I'm coughing up a storm tonight. Oh my god. Again, I don't know what it is. There's something about streaming that just makes me cough. Because at like work, I don't have this issue. I can talk for hours. And I have no issue. But the second we sit down to stream, I just lose it. I don't know why I'm dying. And I was not like this before stream started either. I'm allergic to stream. Give me Pokemon Pinball. I know people want Rangers, and you know, Rangers would be fine, I guess. But give me Pokemon Pinball. That's the dream, baby. Pokemon Pinball is the dream. Alright. Next up. So we got some Marvel Comics news. So we know... So... I have not been following Spider-Man comics. I know on this show, in, previous seasons and previous versions of the show, we talked about Spider-Man comics and how modern Spider-Man comics suck. Specifically with everything that happened with Zeb Wells and how they just refuse to let Peter Parker be happy because they think that Peter Parker is at his best when he's miserable, and I just blatantly disagree. But clearly that's how some people like it, and Marvel's gotten it in their heads that they need to make Peter Parker unhappy. So on top of all the other shit that's bogged down modern Spider-Man, it made it kind... I'm not gonna say it's unreadable, but it sucks. If you want a good Spider-Man comic, go read Ultimate Spider-Man. The current run of Ultimate Spider-Man, I haven't admittedly read it recently, but last I did read it, it was actually pretty decent. I'm a little behind right now, I can admit that. But last I did check out Ultimate Spider-Man, it was pretty good. Because, that one actually had the smart idea of being like, hey, what if we actually gave Peter Parker a wife and kids? What if we made him happy? How does that affect his character? Which is something, modern comics are too afraid to discuss. At least that's what it feels like. currently in modern... So the reason why we're talking about all of this... So recently, Marvel announced that one of the things they're going to be doing is they're bringing back Gwen Stacy. Famously, Gwen Stacy died in the comics. You know, Peter's ex-girlfriend who, you know, he loved with all his heart, that was then that died, what, 50 years ago now? God, I want to say she died in the 70s. That sounds right off the top of my head. She's been dead for a long time, and I know they've brought back Gwen Stacy multiple times. That over the years, Gwen Stacy has come back again and again. And of course, there's stuff like House of M and that test with the Celestial. So they've brought back Gwen Stacy before. But this is, you know, them. The image they posted to like, tease this is literally them digging up her grave. Which, yep, that explains it all. So they announced they're bringing back Gwen Stacy. Well, what else is happening outside of them, you know, bringing back Gwen Stacy? What are they going to do with her now that she's back? Are they going to, you know, make Peter be happy? Oh, you better believe that's not what they're doing. A happy Peter Parker in my Marvel comic books? Never. They will never make Peter Parker happy again. And you could argue that's what's killing modern Spider-Man. But with all that, so they're bringing her back, and what they're doing is they're turning Gwen Stacy into Gwenpool. If you do not know who Gwenpool is, the idea behind Gwenpool is that she is a woman named Gwendolyn Poole who lives in our universe. She's from our world, Earth Prime, if you will, and she got isekai'd into the comic world. And because she was a comic book fan, when she got isekai'd, she knew everything about comics. Almost. She doesn't really read Deadpool. And so she tries to become a hero, you know, stay relevant, do all that. And it's a really good, really interesting comic. If you've never read the original Gwenpool series, I do actually recommend it. I think Comic Drake was the first person I heard talk about it. And I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. Because, you know, she can break the fourth wall. She can literally go between panels. And yeah, it's just really well done. It gets a little bit more complicated. I want to say I can't remember if the original series made her a mutant, or if that happened in one of the later series where, you know, she tries to stay relevant. Because there's this whole meta aspect of Gwenpool that I know the second series dealt with, where it was like, oh, you know, Gwenpool, she can't be forgotten, because being forgotten is to die. In comics, basically. You know, there's that whole thing about, like, oh, you die twice. Once when you actually die, and twice when your name's forgotten. Yeah, Gwenpool's kind of that, where as long as her comic run continues to happen, she'll continue to live on. But then her comic run didn't continue because of some bullshit. Oh, ooh, that was interesting. We actually tried that. But yeah, the second run, I don't even know if I ever actually finished it. But the original run, I did enjoy. I think she's in it kind of like Miss Marvel. She's a character that started off really good and really interesting, but Marvel just has no idea what to do with the character. And as a result, I feel like they've done nothing with her in the past few years, and that kind of sucks. I know she's shown up here and there. I know she was on the Champions for a little bit. I know Jeff the Land Shark, you know, that involves her. But it's just kind of I want more from Gwenpool. And they just never deliver. So with this new thing, they're turning... So a part of Gwenpool is that she has no connection to Gwen Stacy. She's a completely different person, and she actually spends some of her comic run talking about how she's not Gwen Stacy. and how you shouldn't compare the two. So now Marvel editorial or somebody had the idea of, hey, what if we bring back Gwen Stacy and turn her into Gwenpool? The evil Gwenpool, because there's also an evil future version of Gwenpool who, you know, in order to stay relevant becomes like a villain or, you know, something complicated like that. So that's the basic idea, is that, hey, they're bringing back Gwen Stacy. She's now a member of Weapon X or Weapon Plus program, whatever you want to call it. And because of the whole Weapon Plus program stuff, she's now become evil Gwenpool. They've given her Wolverine arms, but not just normal Wolverine arms. They specifically gave her Deadpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine movie Deadpool hands. You know, like the one singular blade. Whoever thought that was a good idea? I have no idea. I don't think anybody thought that was a good idea. But that's what they're doing. And basically the comics, it's a 5-issue run, and it's going to be Peter Parker and the actual Gwenpool teaming up to stop the reanimated corpse of the original Gwen Stacy. It sounds awful. You know, here's the thing though. This does sound like a terrible, awful idea that should have never happened. Especially, like, them bringing back Gwen Stacy. I think it's... The problem with them bringing back Gwen Stacy is not that they brought back Gwen Stacy. The problem is that it reeks of desperation. That after the horrible reception to the modern Spider-Man Day run and Paul and all this other bullshit, they're desperate, so they're gonna bring back Gwen Stacy. And even though they moved Spider-Gwen into the mainline Marvel universe, a thing that people do not like, guess what? They're still gonna go through with it. Because, yeah, that's another thing. Spider-Gwen exists in the mainline universe, and everybody hates it. I don't know. I admittedly haven't... I've read some Spider-Gwen, but it's been a long time. And last I read Spider-Gwen, she had lost her powers. So, that was... You can tell how long ago that was. Not that it's a bad comic run at all. But this just reeks of desperation. This and the fact that it looks like Paul is the new Venom, which also sounds awful. Marvel, like, you know, I know we're not gonna pretend like everything's going good with the movies right now, because they aren't. But things with the comics are in the fucking shithouse. Not that they aren't making some good comics. There are some good comics out there, but Spider-Man is not one of them, and it very clearly shows. Alright, let's talk about the Minecraft Snapshot. So, we got a new Minecraft Snapshot. Normally, we talked about the Fireflies. Whatever. Normally, I don't really talk about Minecraft snapshots, especially nowadays. But the reason I wanted to talk about this one... So the change they've made, which I'm going to be honest, I think this is a great change, is that they've made it so that every mob spawning now has its own unique texture. If you played Minecraft before this, you know that each mob spawn egg was basically just the same texture-wise, but they had, like, different colors. So, like, you know, the pig is pink, the cow is brown, the sheep is... I'm gonna assume the sheep was white. You know, all mob spawn eggs basically worked the same. And that's fine, but for, like, accessibility reasons, I know you can click on them and see, like, oh, this is what the spawn egg does, yada yada yada. I get that, but an important part of accessibility is that someone is able to quickly, at a glance, visually distinguish one thing from another. And mob spawn eggs in Minecraft are actually pretty awful at that. You cannot, at a glance, tell the difference between two different eggs. Especially when some eggs all look so similar. So I've seen this in custom texture packs before that make it so that way each mob spawn egg looks unique. And Mojang finally is just adding that to the game. Instead of, you know, having to use a texture pack that does it, you'll now just be able to... It's now a default part of the game. I've seen some people mad at this, that like, oh no, they liked the old spawn egg textures better. Blah, blah, blah. The old spawn eggs were awful. I hate to be that guy, but the old spawn eggs were not that good. You're just blinded by nostalgia. They are nothing special. They are nothing to sneeze at. I think this change is great. And I think some of the new spawn egg textures are actually really good. I like the Warden one. I think looks fantastic. I really do think the Warden's my favorite mob in Minecraft. Like, just being honest, every time I see the Warden, I just think how cool it looks. So I really do like the Warden, and I think its spawn egg looks good. And so I think this is a good change, and my real reason for talking about this is I hope they do it to other stuff as well. I hope this isn't just like, oh, well, we're just going to update the textures for spawn eggs and call it a day. No, I hope they go in and do the same thing to enchanted books. Because I've seen, and potions, but I've seen texture packs that change how potions look. So that way, you know, a potion of strength has a unique bottle, a unique color. I've seen enchanted books where, like, the enchanted books have their own unique styles, their own colors. Specifically, like, the one I think of is the Fire Aspect book. The Fire Aspect book is literally on fire. That's a great idea. And I hope they do that to this as well. That's a change I really do want to see, because that would be a really nice change. But do I expect them to do that? Actually, kind of. If they're gonna... I know this redoing all the spawn age textures probably took a while, but if you're gonna go through the effort of that, do it for potions. Do it for books. I know that's gonna take a lot of time, especially with how many potions there are and types and whatnot, but I think it is worth it. And I especially because I like the new textures. I know some people like the old Minecraft, you know, they like how the textures used to look. I'm not that nostalgia blind. I think some of the new textures are really good. And I don't really... The only old texture I kind of miss is Netherrack. I liked the old Netherrack, but going back to it, it looks pretty gosh darn ugly. So I'm fine with us just having the new textures. But that's kind of where we're currently sitting there. So that's the change that I think is good. The change that I don't like, and this is definitely controversial. Mojang in the last Snapshot, 07A, they've been making changes to all the different mobs. So mobs now each have their own biome. So there are neutral biomes, hot biomes, and cold biomes. And each biome has a different effect on what mobs will spawn. So in, hot biomes, you'll get a warm cow, a warm pig, a warm chicken. But there was no warm sheep. And it was the same thing for cold biomes. There's a cold cow, a cold pig, and a cold sheep. Or a cold pig, cow, and sheep. There was no cold pig, cow, and chicken. Pig, cow, and chicken. No. There were cold versions of those mobs, but not the new ones. Or not sheep. And I think this is a good change. I know some people don't like it. I think it's a good change. It just makes things more interesting. And, you know, keeping temperate, which is, I think, the neutral one, as the classic mob is not a bad idea. I do definitely think it makes the classic mobs look a little bit worse. That the old schools, specifically the cow. The cow is the one that stands out to me. I think the old school cow looks worse than it did previously. Because I think the new cows look so good. I like the new chicken. I like the new pigs look good. But so they've made all these changes. So what about the sheep? Why didn't they change the sheep? Well, the thing about the sheep is that it's already got a bunch of different variants. Because every color in the game can become a different color of sheep. And that's kind of hard to work with. You know, if you're going to have every color of sheep, you know, that means you'd have to have every color of sheep with their own texture. I know some people just want, like, oh, well, why can't you just put horns on the sheep and call it like a day? You know, change the outside texture instead of the inside texture. Or change the inside texture instead of the outside texture. And yes, to an extent, that does make sense. I do get that. But instead, Mojang's solution was in different biomes, it would spawn sheeps of different colors. So, of course, you know, in, like, temperate biomes, or in hot biomes, you would get the traditional, you know, white sheep. Or at least I think you'd get white sheep. No, okay. In hot biomes, you would get black sheep, gray sheep, and then you would get red, yellow, and orange sheep. So you get 3 neutral colors and 3, you know, more interesting colors. And then in cold biomes, you'd get brown sheep, light gray sheep, and then you'd get blue, cyan, and I want to say light blue. And then in temperate biomes, you'd of course get white, brown, and black, as well as pink sheep, which can still spawn in any biome. I genuinely think that's a decent change. I know some people will... The biggest complaint I've seen against it is that it's unrealistic. That, you know, brown, black, and white sheep are all real things. But, you know, green sheep don't... I don't think green sheep is one of the options. But blue sheep and red sheep aren't real. And my response to that is, it's a fucking video game. The video game can, in its fictional biomes that, you know, are kind of real, but let's... semantics. In its fictional video game-ness, it can make up its own rules to be more like a video game. But people got big mad over the fact that blue sheep can now spawn, so a week after they implemented it, Mojang has taken it back. Blue sheep and red sheep can no longer spawn. And I think it's just boring. How fucking boring are some people that they can't let a blue sheep spawn because it's unrealistic? Like, I know Mojang's problem that I've complained about in the past is that Mojang loves realism in their fictional block game, and they will sacrifice entire game features just because it's not realistic, which I think is a bad idea. But them making this change, I think it's a fine change. But fans got so pissy about it that they completely undid it. And that sucks. I don't think that was the right move. I think they should have stuck to their guns a little bit more. Sure, were they going to get some trash talk for it? Yeah, but here's the thing about Mojang, is no matter what they do, they're going to lose. Mojang is in a lose-lose scenario. No matter what change they made, fans will still be entitled cunts. So I say just do what you want. If you want colored sheep to spawn in your colored biomes, then let colored sheep spawn in your colored biomes. I mean, look at the Sonic Rainbow level we're driving through. Just let shit like that happen. I think that's perfectly fine. It's cutesy. It's a small change. Sure, would I like to have seen, like, some sheeps with horns? Yeah, sure, that'd be neat. But I don't need it. Like, it's not a necessary thing. And besides, if you want variants of sheeps, well, guess what? The goat's right there. Goats are just sheep. They're the same fucking thing. But whatever. You know, it's Mojang's game. They can do what they want. Just wait until Minecon or Minecraft Live, I mean, excuse me. And I give my my crazy Minecraft idea this year. Because I thought of one recently for my next crazy Minecraft idea. And people are not going to like it. I can tell you that right now. My next crazy Minecraft idea is pretty out there. And this is the guy who said Minecraft 2 should exist. But no, I think the mob spawn egg change is a good change. I hope they stick with it. I like the idea a lot. And I hope they do it to the other items that have a lot of similar versions. Just, you know, make things more interesting. It's more fun that way. We'll see what Mojang ends up doing in the end. Alright, let's finish this lap, this race. We're almost at the end. And we'll talk WIBE. I guarantee you it would help a lot more if I actually knew how to play this game. Me having no idea what I'm doing is not helping.
Good job, everyone.
Also, these end screens take way too long. Having to sit through, wait, because you can't just like spam A to kind of go through it. You have to wait a few seconds, and hopefully they fix that in the final game. I don't need to like spam through everything super fast, but like a better indication of when I can click the next button would be nice instead of just having spam it. So for WIBE, we got one food thing, something I had last week. Last week I mentioned I had forgotten something, so we'll talk about that this week. It's chicken related. Then we've got Pixar's new show, Win or Lose. I watched the first 2 episodes of that. I watched the next 2 episodes of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, episodes 3 and 4. I know the season just wrapped up. I am not caught up right now. I'm working on it.
So be it. Good.
But yeah, I've seen episode 3 and 4. And then, of course, we have Invincible Season 3, Episode 2. Again, also a show I'm not caught up on, because I think that shows up to, like, Episode 5. I'll get caught up. I'm just assuming we can't change our nameplate. And then I guess I don't... You know what? Fuck it. Let's talk about this game first. Because I don't actually have this written down, so I guess we'll talk about it now. My thoughts, it's okay. I'm just... There's the thing about Mario Kart, that part of the reason it's so successful is that there's this level of, like, precision in Mario Kart that I just really like. That the only other game that's even gotten close to doing something like it. And some people will say it actually does it better, and I'm not going to disagree with that entirely, is Crash Team Racing. Crash Team Racing also does something very similar, where it's like got this level of like precise control. Admittedly, Crash Team Racing is a lot harder than this, but I don't know, I'm just not as good. Like when I drift, sometimes I feel like, oh, I understand how the drifting works in this game, and I'm actually doing pretty decent, especially like on this stage, when the paths are a lot more straightforward. But on other laps, you know, we struggle a little bit more. I don't get the water entirely. But, you know, we've been doing okay. We haven't been getting our ass totally kicked by bots. I definitely don't feel like the items completely fuck us over. Like, one bad item placement in Mario Kart can drop you from, like, 1st down to, like, 10th, if you're, depending on how close the pack is. I do not get the feeling from that game. One bad item placement here is not going to kill me. Which, you know, that's a good thing. Because sometimes, Mario Kart can be fucking aggressive with its items. It really can be. I'm not hating. I definitely trying to talk while playing this. I definitely am struggling a lot more than I do in Mario Kart. Admittedly, I think we've done an episode of In Chat in Mario Kart. That sounds like something I would have done, even though I have no recollection of actually doing it. But, so there is a part of me that is definitely struggling to keep focused on things because of everything. But I think we're doing fine. I don't know, we'll see how it all pans. I don't know, I've won a few races, so we're doing okay. I mean, again, this is just a network test, you know. I'm sure the final game will hopefully work a little bit different. It's just, you know, this doesn't happen all that often. I don't usually get. The last time I got to like do a test like this was when I was a beta tester for Fall Guys, and that was years ago. And that one I couldn't talk about. Like legally, I signed an NDA that I wouldn't mention anything I did in the Fall Guys beta, and yeah, I never did. Outside of mentioning that I was a beta tester. Alright, I'm opening a Pokemon card pack. Let's see. I'm opening Spacetime Smackdown Dialga. I got a Kirlia, a Toxicroak, Romotom, Magnemite, and oh, Full Art Shinx! It's the Shinx where he's like buried in clothes, and he's got like pants on him. Oh, that's adorable. That's a cute little card. I'm currently at 1,300 cards. And in Space Time Smackdown, I have registered 112. Out of it says 155. I think there are more than that. I think there's like over 200. Let's see, there is a rare pick available. I'm gonna do the bonus pick. Yeah. And we'll talk about the other stuff. For the bonus pick, I got a little shop token thing. And for the rare pick, I've gotten I got Spirit Tomb. Not what I wanted, you know. I like Spirit Tomb, but I want the Weavile. That's like the rare one. The Darkrai. I think I have the Darkrai. The Darkrai would also be nice though. So, let's talk honey. So, KFC right now is doing a collaboration with Mike's Hot Honey. And they're doing a hot honey, you know, tenders, hot honey chicken. I specifically got a hot honey chicken sandwich. That was what I tried. And I'll be honest, it was definitely honey. But I wouldn't say it was hot. I got the sweetness of the honey. For sure, 100% I tasted the honey. I definitely, like, sometimes I feel like with KFC, they don't do enough. Like, when you're like, oh, you know, you're gonna get, like, a Korean barbecue chicken sandwich, and then they just put, like, a little dollop of, you know, barbecue on it. That kind of sucks. This one, no, I definitely got the honey and basically the entire sandwich. But it was not hot at all. It was literal. If you told me, oh, we just put honey on this chicken sandwich, I would 100% believe you. Because it had no spice to it, whatever. Not that hot honey has to be, like, super hot or anything. But, like, when I went and got hot honey at Pizza Hut's always been my prime example of fast food hot honey. Because I actually feel like they did a decent job. I actually really like theirs. Whereas Blaze Pizza, theirs was only hot because of the chili sauce. They did their hot honey with a chili sauce. And you know, it was fine. But it wasn't anything special. And that's kind of how I feel about... Admittedly, Blaze, I feel like one time just didn't put anything on mine. I feel like this is a story I told... I don't exactly remember, which is why I'm saying I feel like that happened. But I'm sure that's a story I told on this show at some point. Was that they just did... I put the hot honey and they just didn't put any on. Because Blaze Pizza does that from time to time. I like Blaze, but they fuck up my orders so much. And like... I saw they're doing like pickle pizza, which I know I did try, but I was like, oh, can I do like a bacon pickle ranch thing? Because I've heard bacon pickle ranch is pretty good. No, you cannot do bacon pickle ranch. You can do pickle ranch, but you can't do bacon on it. And that just kind of feels like a missed opportunity, you know? So I've been disappointed by them in the past plenty of times. And yeah, this KFC Hot Honey, it just wasn't hot. It was honey, for sure. And honestly, the chicken sandwiches I got, they were actually decent. Because KFC is one of those restaurants, I don't do them too often. Usually only when they do shit like this. Because they're 1 in every 10 times you go to KFC, it's good. And I feel like the last time I went, it wasn't good. But the time before that, it was or like 2 times before that was actually pretty good. And that's kind of how it was here. I was like, you know what? It was decent. Is it the best KFC I've ever had? No. Is it the worst? Also, no. I've had worse chicken sandwiches from Wendy's. Because Wendy's is also hit and miss for me. Sometimes Wendy's is fantastic, but every once in a while they fuck it up. And when they do, it sucks. That's more like 1 in 3, though. Which I know sounds a lot more frequent than maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's like KFC is a 1 in 10 chance it'll be good. Wendy's is a 1 in 10 chance it'll be bad. But when it's bad, it fucking sucks. Whereas KFC's best is better than Wendy's worst, but not by much. I guess I'll put it like that. Yeah, would I recommend it? Probably not. And I swear I heard somewheres that like some place did another collaboration with Hot Honey. It might have just been like Walmart or something. Where it was like just like they're selling like Mike's Hot Honey, like new flavors or something like that, new spiciness levels or something. I don't know. Just make your own. I've also heard that that's kind of the best solution. What's an E- doing here? I know that. Oh shit, we're up to the level where we're actually getting mostly people. That would actually explain a lot of why it was mostly CPUs. Is that because you know, people have been playing this more, they're high level. That would actually make a lot more sense. So the first show I watched was Disney Pixar have made their first ever TV show. Pixar, not really a TV show kind of company, but you know, they decided to give it a try. They've got this new show called Win or Lose. And the basic premise is that it's a group of softball players leading up to the week before the big game. And admittedly, it's not all the softball players. Like, the first episode is the coach's kid. But the second episode is the umpire and history teacher? I think he's also a history teacher. So each episode follows a different character as they deal with a different stress between, you know, what's going on in their lives, what's going on with the game, will they succeed, will they fail, and I think it's pretty good. I didn't want to get into spoilers, obviously, for, you know, just these first 2 episodes, but so far, I like it. It's not anything amazing, mind you, but I think it's good. I've enjoyed it. Yeah, now we're starting to get our ass kicked. So the first episode is the coach's kid. And the basic idea is that it's the coach's kid who's not actually that good. The parents are divorced, at least I'm like 90% sure they're divorced. And so the main character, right, they're not that good at baseball or softball, but they want to be, they want to make their dad proud, and they just feel like they're never going to live up to it. So they're practicing all week, getting ready, but they have a little blob that is, we had Inside Out that was anxiety the other week. And that's kind of what this like blob is, basically a representation of their anxiety and all their other stresses in life. And as they get closer to the big game, the little blob becomes bigger and bigger, and it starts causing more and more chaos until it consumes them. Not that it's like always bad, sometimes it's, kind of like how, Inside Out 2 made the argument that, anxiety is supposed to help you with the things you can't see that you worry about. Sometimes the blob's doing stuff like that, but, most of the time it's just stressing them out. And yeah, you get some really good moments. It is Pixar, so the animation is really good. Pixar really put in their whole Pixar into it. And they did make something really good, something really nice looking that I did enjoy. Did we get second on that? I think that boost at the end got a second.
Not too shabby.
Maybe third. But yeah, I think the animation is nice, seeing the little blob grow until it does eventually consume them. And like the moment where they get up to the plate, they can't do it, so they have to take a moment to talk to the dad. That's all really good. And then right before, the end happens, the episode ends. Because each episode is clearly building towards something happening at the game. And like it kind of starts off with like a little teaser of like, oh, this is what the game's gonna be, this is what's gonna happen, but we're not there yet. So yeah, I think the first episode starts off pretty strong. It's Pixar, so it's got its good messaging. The second episode is about the umpire, Blue, and his whole thing is that he's trying to be fair. Everything with him is fair, balanced. He's, top of his game, best in class. He's the high school teacher. He catches two of the kids passing a note. And there's clearly, I think one of the kids is Kai. And there's clearly something going on with her. Because in the umpire episode, she like sprains her ankle. And that's clearly like a big thing. But it's obvious there's something else going on with her. Based on how she is in this episode and like how she freaks out about her parents being called. But we find out Blue's whole deal is that they were in a relationship with one of the other teachers, and they started talking about marriage, and he just wasn't ready for that commitment. So they broke up. He, put his guard up, started shielding himself away, and eventually it gets to where we are now. And he goes onto some dating apps, tries to find someone new. At first he's struggling, but eventually, he figures it out, starts talking to a girl, but then he admits he's not over his ex, goes to talk to her, and then like a punch to the gut, he finds out that his ex is engaged. And so that's like a, oh shit kind of moment. And from there, they go to the game, but it's all ruined, and they can't focus, and, shit goes wrong. I don't know, this is one of those shows where, because we're slowly building up to a climax week after week, I kind of wish we had just gotten the whole thing, because having to, figure this out week after week really does, oh shit, what was that? It really does kind of suck that we're just kind of slowly, patiently waiting for this. I do kind of wish that, there's a part of me that kind of wish they just dropped it all at once. Would I have actually watched it if they dropped it all at once? Probably not. But I at least hope they're going to do 2 episodes a week. I will be disappointed if they don't do at least 2 episodes a week. It's only 8 episodes, so that's 4 weeks. But how things are building up, at the rate things are going, I want more, and that's a good thing. Yeah, it's a decent show. I definitely think there are worse shows out there that you could be watching right now. Are there better shows? Yeah. We'll talk about Moon Girl next week. But I definitely think there are some good shows out there. And yeah, I think this is decent. I know the animation for in the first episode, you know, it's good. It's Pixar. But I like it when they get more creative. In the second episode, the dating app stuff all takes place in like its own like little world with, you know, it's all stylized Pixar animation, but they kind of go above and beyond. This is the first Pixar movie that has felt like a modern animated movie. Most Pixar movies, you know, they're Pixar. They're known for their really good-looking animation that is, you know, hyper-realistic. But we're in a post-Spider-Verse world. Not everything has to be hyper-realistic. In fact, it's probably the exact opposite. Things look better when they're more creative, when they stray more from the norm, as you would say. And yeah, I will stand by that. You know, we're post-Puss in Boots, post-Bad Guys, you know, where animation is allowed to be more creative. And we've gotten some really creative animation. So this feels like Pixar's, first project in a while. That's like, no, we're going to go a little bit more creative with things. And I definitely do feel like they've spit out something, you know, all around pretty decent. We got our ass kicked back in.
I've got to do better next time.
So yeah, I liked it, and I'm excited to see more of it. But I still got, you know, that's the next 4 to, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
We'll just kind of see how they slowly, you know, release it. Yeah. The next show I got is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So the show recently had its series finale. Admittedly, I have not watched the series finale yet. I haven't gotten that far. I will eventually. But yeah, I have not gotten that far in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I only got to episodes 3 and 4 this week. But so far, yeah, no, I'm really liking it. Episode 3, of course, where we left off, you know, Norman Osborn knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Hey guys.
And so he makes him an offer, you know, let me be your guy in the chair. Let me be your Iron Man. Build you tech, make you gear. And Peter actually turns him down. Because, you know, the classic Peter Parker thing that, hey, if my friends know that, you know, or if my enemies know that I'm Spider-Man, they will go after the people I love. A very Spider-Man problem. That, again, I know that's kind of the norm for comic book heroes, at least it was. Nowadays, it feels like Spider-Man is the only character that actually has that issue. Because fucking Spider-Man. Right? Writers hate Spider-Man. But I like how he explains it. This is the first episode in the show that mentions Uncle Ben. Like, kind of like you know how the MCU, like, hints that Uncle Ben exists, but never actually says his name? No, episode 3 and 4 both mention Uncle Ben by name. May is cleaning through her closet, because, you know, they need money. It's Peter Parker, right? When do they not need money? And while cleaning, she finds Uncle Ben's bowling shirt. And yeah, it's a good moment all around. Because, you know, it's a relatively recent thing. It's been in the past, like 6 months to a year? I like that in episode 4, they bring up that Civil War is happening in the background. Because, again, this show is MCU adjacent. So, like, it's not in the MCU universe. But it's in a universe where, you know, some MCU stuff happens. But, you know, it's also got a lot of classic Spider-Man characters, like Norman Osborn, like Lonnie Lincoln, like, well, mainly just those two. But I guess Harry as well. I'm so sick of this pirate level. This is the one I don't like. I'm so sick of this pirate level. But no, I think I like that Civil War is happening in the background. And because one of the Civil War is like super important in the comics for Peter Parker, because that's when his secret identity got revealed. So them discussing, you know, the events of Civil War, the Sokovia Accords, and how that's going to affect them. That's all very interesting. I like Norman Osborn bringing up that, because Norman Osborn, you know, in the comics, he's obviously a villain. He's the Green Goblin. But if you've been reading modern Spider-Man, they've basically given Norman Osborn a redemption arc. And he's now the Gold Goblin. And he's, you know, he's trying to be a hero. Why is he doing that? Well, he had all of his evil sucked out by a demon. Because, again, modern comics. So all of that's happening. So I don't know, they might be trying to do a Gold Goblin thing. Either that, or, you know, Harry's gonna become the Goblin, or, you know, the CEO of Sex is gonna reprise his role as Ned Leeds, and he'll be the Goblin in this show. Because I've seen things on Twitter that I guess they reference him. I've also seen reference on Twitter that they're bringing in Gwen Stacy, but they're gonna make her Ghost Spider, which is gonna piss some people off, because of course it is. But so far, I like all of the Peter Parker stuff. I think it's all good. So I think all of that stuff is working well. I think all the Lincoln stuff, the Lonnie Lincoln stuff, where, you know, his brother's in a gang, and then he gets him out by switching places with him, and now he's working for this gang, and they're setting up Matt Gargan as the Scorpion. I think that's all really interesting as well. So I'm liking the side plot as well. The whole messing around with the different suits in episode 4 was kind of fun. You know, did it add much? Not really, but it's fun, I guess. And them ending with the Future Foundation suit, you know, that's nice looking. At least that's clearly what it's supposed to be. You know, we got some villains. We got, in episode 2, we had the flamethrower guy. In episode 3, we have the, in episode 3, we have the, we have Bonnie and Clyde. One of them is fast. The other one is, has, like, blades for arms. And I like how he defeats them by, like, sticking them together, because their powers don't really meld. That's good. I think that works well. Episode 4... I don't... Was there a villain in episode 4? I know he saves people in a car crash. Oh, yeah, and then they set up Doc Ock at the end of episode 4. That's nice. You know, seeing Doc Ock and, you know, Spider-Man thing. It really... You know what this show... Episode 4 reminded me. You know what this show kind of feels like? This show feels like, what if Spider-Man hadn't been in Civil War? What if, you know, instead of Spider-Man meeting Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and going off to fight Team Cap, what if he stayed in New York? What would have happened? That's kind of what this show feels like. And that's clearly, like, a vibe they're going for. Like, this could have been the MCU's first Spider-Man movie. And I don't hate it. I'll be honest. I do not hate this show at all. Is it my favorite Spider-Man show? 4 episodes in, and not really. Spectacular Spider-Man is still the GOAT, as is the 90s show, which, I'll be honest, I've watched some of the 90s show on reruns as a kid, but I did not really watch the 90s show. I watched the 90s X-Men show, I'll admit that. But the 90s Spider-Man show, not really. I've seen a few episodes. Again, I was a DC kid. I watched Static Shock. That was my favorite show. And I will still stand by how much I love Static Shock. It's serious. I know it definitely aims towards the younger crowd, Static Shock, right? Whereas Batman, I feel like can fit more general audiences. But if you have never seen Static Shock, there are some really good episodes. My personal favorite is the Christmas episode. The Christmas episode is so good. But yeah, that's what I did instead of watching Spider-Man. Yeah, so far it's good. I will definitely get caught up. I will finish it. Oh, shit. But that's still, a ways away. I would say hopefully by next week. But we'll see. I will tell you, so we're not talking about it this week because I'm saving it for Donkey Kong Country. I have finished Moon Girl. I've watched all of Season 2B. It is good. Is it perfect? But I think it still really is good. And I do recommend it. I also recommend going and finding the band episode, because that one's very good as well. That's one of those episodes that's so good it would be winning awards if Disney hadn't cowered it out. But yeah, but we'll talk more about Moon Girl next week. I definitely do have a lot to say. But that's next week's problem, Oh, I thought we had avoided that. So the last thing I gotta talk about is Invincible. So I did watch Invincible Season 3, Episode 2. So we left off in a really good place at Episode 1. Right, Mark is starting to see this disconnect with Cecil, as, Cecil brought back Darkwing. He's using the Reaniman. And honestly, I really like the ending of Episode 1, where Cecil's like, Mark, you're scaring the shit out of me. He's trying to talk him down, and Mark just, won't. So Cecil eventually has to take him into the White Room and threaten him. I think that's all good. I like that. So the start of Episode 2, I was like, okay, we're starting off with Cecil's backstory. I like that. I know, again, I've read the comics, I know Cecil's backstory, and it was one of those things that I figured they'd show eventually. And they do. We get the whole thing where, him versus the Cult of the Fiery Fist, he beats them, and then he gets his face burned off. Basically all of his skin except that one little bit around his face. I was wondering I'm surprised Britt doesn't come in and save him, because in the comics he's saved by Britt, a hero who helps out later on, and he's more important. But kind of like Tech Jacket, he's also not a main character. He's his own comic series, and I know that makes things more complicated for Invincible when it comes to licensing and rights and whatnot, which is why I don't expect to see Tech Jacket in the show, even though he is super important later on. But so I was surprised to see Britt not there. But you get that origin story, they put back all of his skin, except for the one piece around his mouth as a reminder. But then they add to it. I don't think it's been a while since I've read the comics. The second part of his origin story here, I don't think is in the comics. The change they've made is that we see Cecil after, because normally that's where Cecil's backstory ends. With him, keeping that one bit of his original skin as a reminder of, the mission and everything. In this, we see him a few months later as, they're under attack by whoever. And the two Fist cult members come out. And they're working for the government now. They've been rehabilitated. And Cecil, kind of like Mark, they basically give Cecil his own little mini Mark arc, where he sees these people, he's like, no, fuck that, kills both of them, goes to jail for a little bit, rehabilitates the jail, which was funny. And then he eventually becomes the head of the superhero program. I can't remember what the organization's called off the top of my head. But he becomes the head of that. We see him meet Nolan, which the Nolan meeting thing is something that I think did happen in the comics. That I do remember. But the whole thing with the fiery fist cult or whatever, that doesn't happen in the comics. With them coming back and, you know, being redeemed, for lack of a better word. Not redeemed. Being put to work. Trying to, you know, it's better than having, they can use their skills for good instead of, you know, rotting away in a jail cell. That's not in the comics as far as I remember. And I think that's a great change. Seeing Cecil go through what Mark is going through right now makes me like Cecil even more. Because I mentioned last week, I'm on Cecil's side here. Right? That, you know, I know things are complicated. I know, you know, people have, you know, Batman and Superman. Yeah, let's just say Batman and Superman. Again, Maxwell, I would say Wonder Woman, but Maxwell Lord. But you know, Batman and Superman generally don't have a no-kill code. And that, I get that, I understand that, but that's not the kind of story Invincible's going for. And you know, what Cecil does, I get it. He's working with murderers and whatnot. But he's got a reason for that. And I do tend to agree with him. Again, within the universe of the show. Again, I would rather have a Batman and a Superman over a Cecil, but I get Cecil. I understand Cecil, right? Philosophically, I get it. And I think the show is good at what it does. So far, yeah, I think that all works. We see Cecil try to kill Mark, and the other Guardians step in to save him. Robot, you know, helps him out. Not because, you know, he wants... Well, because he wants to, but he's mostly, you know, leaving for the girl. Because he's also scared shitless of Mark. I'm glad they kept all that in. Because I do like Robot and Monster Girl. I do like them as a couple. Again, yeah, I like them. You know, sometimes it's kind of creepy how Robot, you know, does things, but, you know, he's autistic. I get it. Yeah, after that... the Guardians basically break up. There's a schism in their church. Robot, Monster Girl, Shrinking Ray, and Rexplode go with Mark, whereas Immortal, Duplicate, and Black Samson stay with... Oh, Shapesmith stays with the Guardians, and Bulletproof goes with them. And yeah, you know, it was inevitable. Totally see how it shakes out. I don't remember if Shrinking Ray was alive in the comics when this happened. Because that's the... I want to say in the event that kills Shrinking Ray, and, you know, where Rex gets a bullet in his head, I want to say only Rex survives that in the comics. I could be totally wrong about that. But I want to say only Rex survives that in the comic. Again, they changed Shrinking Ray's gender, and I'll be honest, I don't really remember Shrinking Ray that much. But I think it's, you know, I like what they're doing so far with her. I like what they're doing with Rex. And yeah, so far, 2 episodes in, I'm enjoying it. And then at the end of episode 2, Mark and Eve finally get together. They're finally dating, 100% confirmed. Good, that's finally happening. I know complications will arise. Guess what? It's a show with... They're still teenagers. Mark's 19. You know, those complications will happen. But so far, everything's good. It's still a good show. I've seen a lot of people bitching and moaning about the animation. That the animation isn't up to snuff. And honestly, I've seen animes with far worse animations that take themselves way more seriously. And if the price we have to pay for a good show, a well-written show, with some good voice actors and actors, is slightly worse animation, that to me is a small price. Because it's not the worst animation I've ever seen. I know a lot of people talk about that soccer show having that soccer anime with really bad animation. And yeah, that's far worse than this. That's basically a PowerPoint presentation compared to this show. So I'm still enjoying Invincible, but I'm biased. I like the comics. They've changed things from the comics, but they have not changed things in a way to make the show worse. It's one of the good modern adaptations where, you know, they keep what works and change some of the stuff that didn't, you know, some of the more sexist, outdated culture stuff that, you know, just hasn't aged well, while still keeping a lot of the love and charm of the original. So far, I feel like the show's going well. I'm happy with it. But, you know, I'm like 3 episodes behind at this point, so I'll get caught up. And yeah, I think that's all I got to talk about this week, so I guess that takes us to the outro. I was gonna say, I sort of got it this show. So yeah, this was a weird week for me. I'll be honest. I've been kind of I don't know if it's obvious. I've been kind of struggling to get through Sonic tonight. Sonic has kept me very distracted. I thought about just pre-recording footage and then just talking over that, and I honestly probably would have done that if the playtime for this beta had been more limited. I probably would have done that, and then just, you know, check, and then, you know, we would have checked it out next week or later on or whatever. But I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's do it live. And I definitely feel like, you know, this game is just complicated enough, just fast enough that I definitely have felt my focus dwindle a bunch. But I've played worse racing games. I've played better, but I've played worse. I like the switching world gimmick. There's a lot of rumors about what the next Mario Kart's going to be. And one of those big rumors is that the new Mario Kart's going to have something to do with the Wonder Seeds. That, you know, what if... I think this is more of like fan speculation than anything else. But what if the new Mario Kart does like Wonder Seeds, where on the second lap or on the third lap, the Wonder Seed activates and completely changes how the course works? I think that's a really good, really interesting idea. I like the idea of... What place did we drop to there? We got, you know, we were in like third, and then we just got flummoxed. I feel like this is kind of like what the Wonder Seeds could be, where, you know, for the second lap you go to a completely different world. I really like that idea. I feel like it... Oh my god, yeah. I feel like it works well here. You know, I'm having enough fun. I feel like the transition to worlds goes smoothly enough. There are definitely some things, you know, I definitely do need a better cart, because I've been mostly just using the basic bitch cart. But, you know, I do enjoy a decent kart racer. Let's just return to top menu. Will I actually pick up this game when it releases? Because I don't think it's a freemium game. I think this is going to be like a full game experience. You know, anything's possible. Customize your own machine. So yeah, again, this is... having not played a Sonic game since the Wii U, this Sonic game very much feels like, oh, this is, you know, the first Sonic game in a while that very much feels like Mario Kart. Do the paint job. Okay, there's a cart for sure. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think this is fine, you know. Will I probably play some more of this off stream? Yeah, probably. I'll probably check it out a little bit more. You know, I'm having a decent enough time. I mean, I don't know, it depends on when Mario Kart comes out. Because, like, if this is competing directly against Mario Kart, this game's gonna get fucking flummoxed. Because I know Mario Kart's gonna be great. It's Nintendo. When have they fucked up a Mario Kart? It's at least been... When did the Mario Kart DS game, or Game Boy game come out? Mario Kart Game Boy. Super Circuit. 2001? That was a launch year game? Holy shit, it was. So yeah, it's been over 20 years since Mario Kart fucked up. Because Super Circuit, I would say, is the last Mario Kart game that kind of fucked it up. Because Double Dash was good, Wii was good, DS was good, 3DS was good, 8 was good. Tour... Okay, Tour actually might be an argument. But I don't hate Tour. So yeah, you know, it was different. Next week, next week is February 28th. We're beating Donkey Kong. We have been working on it far too long. I keep pushing it off. I push it off against this week. Next week, 100% we are doing Donkey Kong. And then in March, something I want to do in March is, because that's the lead up to the Switch 2. I want to do some, I guess, predictions is one way to put them, but I think it'd be fun to, like, design, so Kinda Funny on their podcast has done, like, a series like, hey, let's predict the next 3D Mario game. What do we want in the next 3D Mario? They did that, like, last week or 2 weeks ago. This week they did, hey, let's predict the new 3D Zelda. And I kind of want to just do that. I think that would be a lot of fun. You know, let's predict the new 3D Zelda. Let's predict the new 3D Mario. I've wanted to do a Mario Kart thing where we, like, rate all the characters based on their chance of getting in. And, you know, we pick some retro tracks. I feel like that would be a lot of fun to do. Just, like, design our own Mario Kart. You know, yeah, basically that's it. You know, Nathaniel Bandy put out a video, re-released a video of his hopes for the new Mario Kart. Because, you know, he did one like 10 years ago and now he did another one. So he put out that and I was kind of like, you know what, I could do that. I could do like 10 years ago. Yeah, it was actually, it's like 8. God, it's so long. I was like, I can do that. I can make my own, like, let's just do a stream where the topic of the stream is what do I want in the new Mario Kart. Because I had an idea that I do not love, but I am 99% sure is going to happen. And I have seen nobody else talk about it, including Nathaniel Bandy. And okay, I'm sure some people are talking about it because it's kind of obvious, but it's kind of worst case scenario. And even though I'm excited for the new Mario Kart, I do think that's where we're heading. So I do want to talk about that. And I've been sitting on that since the Nathaniel Bandy video came out. And so we are definitely going to talk about that. But we'll do that in March. I've already said we're going to do Zelda in March. So yeah, we've got a lot to do, but that's still like 2 weeks away. So we got time. But with that, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time, peace.